Did you give yourself half an hour with your own thoughts and write down all your goals? I've got them. Let's get into it.
Never gonna stop now, baby.
So let's do the business side of things first. I am going to be this week turning off super thanks and super chats, but I've hopefully created a much better way for you guys to support me if you choose to do so. Buy Me a Coffee is doing really well. They have really got their act together, and I'm very impressed with how they transport money to the person's account. So I'm very happy with that. I've also set up a PayPal account, and you can sort of run fundraisers on a monthly basis. It means I'll have to redo the fundraisers every month, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm just not happy with how AdSense do their business. They take way too long and they take way too much of a cut. I'm not happy with it. So I'm going to be offering Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal to support me in the future. The other thing is I do have some other plans where Buy Me a Coffee is concerned. It may or may not involve some digital art that you'll be able to download for very small amounts. It's going to require me finding out what sort of phones you use, whether you use a tablet, whether you watch me on your PC. I may or may not need to know what devices you're using so that I can create things for your phones, for your tablets, and for your PCs. I'm very much into AI art. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that in this video. So without much further ado, let's get on with my goals. Now, I spoke to Adrian about my goals, and he posed an interesting question. He asked me, he said, now what order would those goals come in? And when I looked at the list, I was like, he's got a really good point, because there is only one that has to be first, and that is pain-free. I am already doing what I can by being a carnivore to heal my body. I'm hopefully within the week going to be getting my vibration plate, which will help with lymphedema. By all accounts, this thing is a game changer, and I'm looking forward to getting it. It cannot come soon enough, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm hoping the combination of carnivore and this vibration plate is going to help me with the current pain that I have, because it is too much. It is really getting on my nerves. I am impatient, and I need to learn to be patient with myself. I do get that. And I've only been doing this now for just under 4 months. But I was kind of hoping that I would have a little bit more pain-free kind of deal. But, you know, as with anything, you sort of like try something to get rid of one problem, and then these other things come up that you didn't realize were a problem, and then you have to address those. And it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. So I'm getting there. So I'm looking forward to getting my vibration plate, because I think the combination of that and carnivore is going to be incredible. The next one is walk. I want to walk, which requires me to be as pain-free as possible. Now, you see, these people, these doctors and these, you know, exercise experts and all of that jazzola, they take one look at me and just say, oh, you just need to move more. Like, yeah, you try it with the pain I've got. Have a go. Go on. Show me what that looks like in your world with all my pain. Knock yourself out. If you're in pain, you don't want to walk very far. You really just don't. It's very depressing, not going to lie to you. But yeah, I would like to be able to go for a walk. I'm not expecting to run anytime soon, but walking would be nice without the walking stick. That would be nice. let's talk about culture. Now, what does that involve for me? Some of you do know, some of you don't know. But for me, that requires me finally going back to the opera, going to an orchestral concert, maybe even going to a play. Heck, I'd like to go to the cinema, because that presents another problem. What do you do when you're faced with that smell of popcorn? You take bacon bits. So yes, culture. I gotta get me some culture, folks, because I miss it. I really do. Next, we have two things that fall under the category of exhibitions. I'd like to go to a PC show, a personal computer show, with my husband. You know, at a great big exhibition centre, and see all the latest tech that's available, all the things that are being worked on. Oh, I've only ever been to one, and that was a long time ago, but I would love to have the legs to be able to withstand walking through a PC show with my husband. That would be fantastic. I would love that. By the same token, I'd like to go to PAX, which is a gaming convention. Oh, wow, would I love that. Again, I would like to go and do that with my husband. I mean, I'd even like to go to the movies with my husband. And by all accounts, he wants to come along to he wants to come along to concerts and operas and stuff like that, you know. So I just, I really would like to go to some exhibitions, but I'd like to go to an art gallery. That goes in the culture part. I'd like to go to an art gallery. Yeah, that would be nice. The next on my list is travel. Now, that is all the things. That is plane, car, ship, train. I draw the line at hot air balloons. No, not doing that. Sorry, no. I would like to be able to drive where I want, when I want, without having to suffer the next day because of the pain. I'd like to be able to sit in the car without the steering wheel bunched up against my belly. Thank you. Heck, I'd even like to drive back to Sydney and back. And, you know, my husband said, "Are you mad?" I said, you got to bear in mind that when I drove up here, okay, I'm what, 100 and, hang on, let's double check that. I am currently, as of the last weigh-in, I set and forget, you know. So my last weigh-in, 188.5, okay? So when I drove up here, I was 229.4 kilos. Yeah. Lot bigger than even when I started carnivore. Heaps bigger. I would like to do that drive again. Without the pain, without the bunch up of the belly with the steering wheel thingo. To me, that is my idea of heaven. And heck, you know what? My lovely halfway point is to stay at the Windmill Hotel. I love that hotel, motel, whatever you want to call it. It's such a lovely place. It really is. Couple of days there when you drive down, couple of days there when you drive back up again. It is the perfect halfway point, and I vowed I'd go back one day. And I really want to keep that promise. One day. There's no date. We'll get to that in a minute. Nature. Now, for me, I would like to be able to go to the pier at Deception Bay and just sit there and just take it all in. Hear the seagulls, hear the ocean, smell the salt air, maybe catch a sunrise, maybe catch a sunset. Both. Why not both? That would be nice. You know, that to me is so far off. It's doable, but the pain involved prevents it. It really does. I just can't handle extra pain. And of course, you know, I would also like to walk across the sand on a beach up here and put my feet in these beautiful warm waters in the ocean. I could think of nothing more delightful. I really couldn't. As for items, There is but one thing I really want, and I've never had one, and I want one. I would like a leather jacket. Yeah, I have never had a leather. I've had a denim jacket, but I've never had a leather jacket. I've always wanted one. I has. I once. So one day I would like to have a leather jacket. Now, my long-term goal, again, I'm not putting any time frame on this, and time frames is something I'm going to talk about. I used to love doing jazzercise. Oh my gosh. And I've found videos. Somebody has transferred VHS cassettes of these workout videos for jazzercise, and I'm like, oh. I was trying to explain to my husband how much I loved it. And I said, okay, how you are about karate? He went, oh. I said, yeah, that's how much I love jazzercise. It is the perfect combination of dance and aerobics without the really heavy duty aerobic workouts that, oh, they can get pretty full on. And, you know, you can do it sort of like as in a low impact level, medium or high. And to be able to do one of those kind of classes again, oh man, whew, that would be amazing to be able to do that. So what does all of those goals mean to me? It means freedom. And it leads me to ask you guys a question. Even you guys that sit there saying, oh, golly, being a carnivore, so restrictive. How restrictive do you think it is that I can't do those things without pain? How restrictive do you think it is to my emotional and mental well-being that I cannot do those things right now? That's restrictive. Yeah, that's restrictive. And it all has to be done in order. I have to get rid of that pain first, because until that pain is reduced significantly, oh, no one in their right mind is going to want to move. It hurts when I walk from here to the other end of the house to go to the bathroom. It's daunting. It is daunting. And it's really affected me this week. I get up in the morning, I pull myself up, and I'm standing on my legs for the first time in the morning. And the same thought goes through my head every single time. First of all, ow is the first one, followed by, oh, I just don't feel like giving anybody anything that they want in this house today. And I know that I'm to blame. The buck stopped with me. I put myself in this position for whatever reason, you know. But when you get like this, what it does to you on a mental level and an emotional level, oh, you've got to have been there to understand it. If you can flippantly say, oh, God, how could you let yourself get that bad? Or if you can flippantly say, oh, eating meat is restrictive. If you can sit there and say that, good for you, first of all, but spend 5 minutes in my body, 5 minutes, you wouldn't last a minute. You just wouldn't. I wish I could transfer the pain to anybody in this house, because I mean, they see the pain, they see me in pain, but to actually understand the magnitude of the pain that I feel from the moment I get up in the morning to the moment I go to bed at night, they're not going to really know until they feel it. And I can't, there's no way of me actually transferring the pain for 5 minutes for them to feel it, because I don't think anybody around me is going to fully comprehend it unless they've been through it or are going through it. It's vile, folks. It's vile. If anybody's going to say, how can you let yourself get to that point, or meat is restrictive, take a long, hard look at yourself and back off, because I don't think you could walk a mile in my shoes. I can't walk a mile in my shoes. So off you go. Now let's talk about time frames where goals are concerned. I don't have youth on my side anymore. Oh, Oh, to be 30 again. Whee! Wish I was 30 again. When you're young, you have the luxury of not having the sort of problems that the likes of me have in terms of lymphedema, lipedema, and all of that jazz. If you are young, your objective is to try and prevent that from happening, folks. If I can just jump into the poster child advertisement for what not to do when you're 30, get ahead of it now, please. I beg you, just get ahead of it now. You've got to crawl before you can walk. You've got to walk before you can run. And if you've got youth on your side, then you've got maybe a few pluses and a few feathers in your cap. But what do you do if you put a time restraint on something and you say, I want to do such and such by the end of the year? For example, what if that end of the year comes and you can't manage it? How do you process that? I can see that there is great potential for people to look at that as a failure, and I think you need even to get ahead of that. What I feel is that I haven't put a time restraint on any of my goals. I can't, because I don't know how long this is going to take. Once that vibration plate comes into my life, I don't know how long it's going to take to get rid of the pain or a good deal of it. No idea. Be pointless for me to say, oh, well, like, let's say by the end of next year, I'm going to run a marathon. No. 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 I would never put myself in that position, because that can really set you up for a bit of a fall if you're not careful. By being careful, I mean having the courage to get to that point where you've gone, all right, so here I am. I wanted to be able to have been doing this by now, so it's not happening, right? So I need to find some courage to readjust the goalpost a bit and either give myself extra time or be kind to myself enough to remove the restriction. I mean, there are some that can only do short-term goals, and oh boy, I get it. I wish some of these were short-term, but I know that they're not. Maybe I should think of some short-term goals within the confines, and I use the word in its complete entirety and accuracy. Maybe I should set some goals that are within the confines of my current lack of movement. That might help me. That would give me some short-term goals in terms of, and I mean, I may even get that sorted when I get the vibration plate. Set little goals of, okay, I'm going to do it for 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night, and do my little goals through that and increase it every week. I don't know. I just would like people to be careful about setting goals that are too adventurous without having the skills to be able to move the goalpost if you need to. Having the humility to be able to do that, having the courage to be able to do that. Because I can see a potential for having a very, very restrictive kind of time frame. I can see that being a problem. You can push yourself so much and so hard, you'll end up burning yourself out. I know I would, and I'd probably end up shooting myself in the foot in addition to everything else. So what I'm going to try and teach myself is to, have these goals, but don't put a time frame on it, folks. That has to be part of being kind to yourself. Why set yourself up for possible failure if you haven't got the courage to move the goalposts when you need to? It's all part of being gentle. And I think that shouldn't matter what age you are, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, doesn't matter. 70s, 80s, doesn't matter. Be realistic with the goals. The time that you give yourself to achieve those goals. Be smart about it. I'm not saying you can't achieve them within the time frame, not at all. Some of you could. I just know that in myself, if I put a time frame on these, I'll send myself berserk trying to stick to it, and I don't want to do that. I can't do that. I mean, yeah, initially in a year's time, I want to be going to the opera, and that was in December. Who knows what's going to happen when this vibration plate comes into the house? Maybe I will be able to go to the opera. I don't know. But I'm not going to be unhappy if I have to wait another year. I'd rather wait that extra year and work on myself a little bit better before I start running marathons and, walking all around QPAC and, driving to the cinema and then finding a car park that's miles away from the entrance and, having to walk miles to get to the cinema. I'd rather remove as many of those little constraints in order to make those things easier when I get to it. And if that's going to take a little bit longer, who cares? But that's the thing. Youth, you want to do everything quickly. And I sit here sometimes with a 56-year-old body and I'm like, I still think like a 20-year-old. That's just not going to get me very far, folks. Got to be realistic. Just watch yourself making those goals that have got really good, strong time. Like running a marathon, for instance. I mean, you've got to, if you're somebody like me, okay, the process would go like this, I would imagine. First of all, I'd have to get the pain gone and I'd have to build up the strength in my legs, build up the core strength, and I'd have to walk for a long time before I even contemplate running. And then there's the training to do the running. And that's not a 5-minute thing. That can take months. I don't see me running a marathon anytime soon. I mean, honestly, really think about your goals. Think about the time restraints that you place on them. And think about what would happen if for some reason you don't meet that goal in that given time. Have that in your mind that you are allowed to move the goalpost if you need to. But be honest with yourself about it, okay? You have to be honest with yourself. I haven't got time to be anything else. Be realistic with yourself about your goals. Set some little ones that are achievable in a short space of time, because that'll make you feel like you've achieved something. That's something I'm going to have to do when that vibration plate comes into the house, and I will. And the goals that are long-term, don't shoot yourself in the foot by putting a time limit on yourself. You'll end up burning yourself out and you'll give up on everything. I know I've done that in the past. It never bodes well. I need to do that by that date, that by that date, that by that date. Stop. Just take it easy. On that note, I am going to exit stage left or stage right, stage left, whichever. And I'm going to ask you to be kind to those around you. Protect your peace. Don't take any crap. And be kind to yourself. I will try to do the same this week. I love you guys. Bye for now.